Hello? Your Health is Calling, where holistic health meets practical solutions for your well-being. With your host, speaker, New York Times bestselling author, Sue Kostyk, a seasoned holistic health practitioner and longevity coach. Join Sue each week to embark on a journey to uncover the root causes of your health concerns. Through a personalized approach, learn how to decode the messages your body is sending and craft natural protocols to address them. Call in live at 888-994-4995 Studio A.
Hello, good morning, and welcome to Hello, Your Health is Calling. I'm Sue Kostyk. I am an integrative health practitioner, and I am coming to you from the Reinvented Life Network. And we have been on a journey for quite a few weeks. We have been traveling along the de-stress protocol, which was developed by Dr. Stephen Cabral, and it's a place where I start with many of my clients as just a way to get started in this journey of natural wellness, and where we can just start to unpeel the onion and get to the root cause of what is causing any kind of distress that you may be under. So just to recap, we are actually at the very end of the de-stress protocols, but I'm going to recap the first part of it for you. So in case you want to catch up, you can always grab these off of the Reinvented Life Network on YouTube, or send an email to support at Hello, Your Health is Calling, and we'll make sure that you get the ones that you need. So we started talking about why our gut and our brain need to be besties, and the fact that they are best friends. And the reason why we need to keep that relationship going is because together they create a lot of things within our wellness, and they control a lot of things. So if we can just put up that first slide, and we're going to kind of walk through why our gut and our brain need to be best friends, what happens when they aren't, and we're just going to kind of go do a very high-level overview of what happens there. So when they work together, they control our digestion, they control our immune function, they control our mood and our mental health, they control inflammation, chronic disease. When our gut is not talking to our brain, that's when chronic disease starts coming in. You know, these two together control our weight, they control our skin health, our allergy, autoimmunity, even brain development. So we want these two to be talking, we want them to be friends, so that all of these things can be really well controlled. And so as we have been diving through this de-stress protocol, we've been talking about what happens when our gut and our brain aren't talking anymore. And that's when we start having our digestive problems. We start having mood disorders. We start having cognitive dysfunction. You know, a lot of autoimmune situations start to happen when we have bacteria overgrowth in our gut, because our bodies cannot keep up in creating what it needs to be healthy. We start to have allergies. We start to have chronic inflammatory disease. Hormones are not being produced. We start to feel anxiety because 90% of our serotonin is produced in our gut. And so when we don't have that happening, then we're going to feel anxious, we're going to feel depressed. So that is why, you know, we need to really make sure that these two organs are working together. And when they aren't working together, there are practical solutions that we can do to get them in working order. And that is where the de-stress protocol comes in. And we get them to start communicating. We start with different things like our diet, which is the D for distress. And the de-stress protocol, by the way, is an acronym. The D is for diet. We eat a whole food diet. We stay away from processed foods. Stay out of the fast food line. Make sure you're eating 3 meals a day. Make sure you're eating the rainbow. We are in a situation where our mineral levels in our soils are really low. So we want to just make sure we're eating organically when we can, and we're eating whole foods. So the E in the de-stress protocol is for exercise. And it's for movement. We were made to move. Our bodies are manufactured to move. And if we stop moving, you don't move it, you lose it kind of thing, it actually really happens. So we want to make sure that we're exercising. We want to make sure that we're getting out in fresh air, and not necessarily going to the gym and killing yourself for 2 hours. It really means getting those 10,000 steps that the American Heart Association have said are so vital in keeping us healthy. And if you are not active, then my recommendation is definitely not to just all of a sudden go to the gym and just, start working out really heavy. It's really about getting in those steps, and start with walks. Taking a walk for 20 minutes after you eat dinner is the best way to regulate your blood sugar and your digestive system. And even just starting with small things like that are going to be super helpful in overcoming a lot of medical issues. So the S in the de-stress protocol is for stress management. And we spent a lot of time on this, and stress is a killer. And the American Heart Association and a lot of cardiovascular surgeons and doctors say that stress is one of the number one killers. It's kind of a portal, if you will, to everything, starting to go haywire in our bodies and with our health, because we are under so much stress. We wear stress like a badge of courage. The more stress we're under, the better we are. But stress is definitely something that you need to manage. We're not going to escape it. We simply are not, but we can manage it, and we can take some steps to start to get rid of some of that stress, or at least helping our bodies manage the stress. So the T is for toxin removal. Again, we spent a lot of time on this one too, because we are surrounded by toxins. Over 77,000 man-made chemicals we are finding. They are finding over 100 chemicals in the umbilical cord of newborns. So we know that through our environment, through the foods we're eating, we are overloading our bodies with toxins. So toxin removal is a big one. Again, if you need any more information on this, please get in touch with me at support@Hello Your Health is Calling. All of these steps are very easy to start doing. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. We can start with a couple things at a time. Taking a look at your household cleaners, taking a look at your laundry detergents, finding out what's good to eat conventionally versus organic, going on to the Environmental Working Group.org on their website. You can actually type in your product and it'll tell you where it is on the clean level. Our cosmetics, women, we put so many chemicals on our skin every single day, and it's literally absorbed within seconds of us putting it on there. So being aware of what we're putting on our skin and how that's affecting us is going to be super important. And there's apps. There's so many apps. You can even Think Dirty is the one that comes to my mind, is an app that you can actually scan the barcode of your product, and it will show you how toxic it is or not. So the R in distress is for rest. And notice how I stopped there. We all need to rest, and we need to prioritize sleep. Sleep is when your body heals. It's when it's when your brain is cleaned out, your REM sleep, your deep sleep. It's really important that you start prioritizing that, especially if you are under stress, because your body is never going to rest. Your liver, during the times when we sleep at night, our liver goes through its major detoxification courses, and there are actually 2 cycles. And if we are not prioritizing sleep, it may not even get through 1 cycle. So we want to make sure we're prioritizing sleep. We want to make sure that our sleep schedule is not backwards. I know this isn't going to apply to people who do the night shift. I work with people that work night shifts, and we figure it out. We figure out how best to make sure that your sleep cycles are healthy ones. So rest is super important. If you're sitting at a desk all day, make sure that you're getting up and moving around. So the E in the de-stress protocol is for emotions, and it goes hand in hand with stress because stress can cause big emotional issues in our lives if we sit in it too long. And we talked about the 9 toxic emotions. And emotions are for a reason. They signal our brain to create cortisol so that if you are in fear, your body will signal to create cortisol so you can get into that fight or flight. But it doesn't know the difference of whether you are running away from a bear or an enemy, or you just had a fight with your spouse or your coworker or your children. So there is no difference in how your body reacts. So the longer you stay in the emotion, the longer your body is going to keep producing that cortisol. And the longer you stay in the fight or flight, the less time your body is in rest and relax and creates hormones and digests food properly and signals your body that it's time to start creating melatonin so you can go to sleep. So it really is a cycle. And staying on top of our emotions and understanding that they're there for a reason, you can feel them, but you don't want to sit in them. So the first S at the end of the de-stress protocol is for supplementation. We spent a couple weeks on this because there's a lot of information about supplements. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry. And yet it's one of those things that you want to pay specific attention to what you are supplementing yourself with, when you're supplementing, and the types of supplements. So getting with someone who understands about supplementation and the difference between buying your vitamins at CVS pharmacy or from a functional medicine doctor, because the levels are different, the origins are different. You want to make sure that you're using a natural product, not one that's synthetically and chemically derived. That's super important because what you're doing is you're just putting more toxins in when you're doing these synthetic vitamins and minerals and things. So that's super important as well. And so that's kind of a recap. We are at the end, which is success mindset, and we can take a little break and we're going to come back in and we're going to dive in on the last S of the de-stress protocol, which is success mindset. But we'll be right back.
Hello? Your health is calling. Feeling bloated, low on energy, dealing with hormone imbalances? Integrative health coach Sue Kostyk is here to assist you. Reach out to Sue for practical health solutions guided by her professional training as a holistic coach. Sue specializes in identifying the underlying causes of health issues and restoring balance. Don't let your health concerns impact your well-being. Contact Sue Kostyk today at 917-362-5176 or via email at sue@symmetryhealthandwellness.com and take the first step towards a healthier, happier you.
Hello, Your Health is Calling, a new show brought to you by the Reinvented Life Network. Tune in Thursdays at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
You've been watching Hello, Your Health is Calling. Join me as we dive into the realms of longevity, nutrition, stress management, and toxin removal, all without the use of harsh pharmaceuticals. And now, back to the show. Okay, welcome back. We are going to dive into the last S of the de-stress protocol, and it is for a success mindset, because success is really indicative of your mind and how you think about yourself and what you're going through. Your mind is stronger than you think, and honestly, if you cannot challenge your mind and, really get into the mind over matter mindset. I know that's kind of a weird way of saying it, but it's really a mind over matter that you want to get your mind into. You want to figure out where your mental blocks is. And when we're talking about a success mindset, it could mean with your health. Some people I talk to have been struggling with their health for so long and they're just fatigued. And they think that, why should I try one more thing? Because I've tried everything. And honestly, it's a shame because conventional medicine has kind of let us down in this area, because if you do lab work with your doctor and they don't find anything yet you're having these symptoms, there has to be something. And that's where with integrative health we get to the root cause. We figure out, why are you feeling this way? Not here, take this pill and your symptom will go away, because a lot of times all it does is mask the symptom. So what we want to do is we want to find out why and what is the reason. So for your success mindset, if you have been struggling with health, with job, with relationships, it really literally is anything that you maybe have set a goal on and you're just not achieving it. So finding out where the mental blocks are and figuring out, and making sure that how you're talking to yourself, about yourself, what you're thinking. If failure is your fear, then, change your mind. Just learn the lesson and, try to move on through. My best advice to people who have been struggling for many, many years is to give it one more chance. And it may be that not everything you've done has been a failure. It could be just that there were just some steps that you eliminated or you were in a rush. So I'm going to go through a few steps now that might be very helpful to you. And this, you could use this in anything. Like I said, it doesn't have to be health related. It could be relationship related. It could be job related. It could be anywhere that you are struggling with feeling successful and not having that I'm just going to fail again mindset. So let's look at our expectations. Are we having unrealistic expectations? Because a lot of times we put an expectation on ourselves that isn't realistic, or maybe it's too quick. And, one of the biggest things, especially in your healing journey, is every day is not going to be perfect. It's a process, and to make changes, you have to be patient and maybe just say, today's going to be better. You don't have to put any kind of goal or expectation on it, but just say today's going to be better. And, you really can't have change without making changes. Human beings do not like change. I don't care who you are. That's not how we're made. Our brains don't like change because we get settled into, how we feel in a particular situation. And even if we don't feel good and comfortable in the situation, our bodies are comfortable with it. So if you start to think about changing something, your brain instantly is doing the over-under. And it's instantly going to say to you, do you want to do this? Do you want to maybe feel a little uncomfortable? Aren't you happy here? So it's really, taking charge of your mind and really understanding that you have control over it. And the human experience is another part of it. Hard times, negativity, adversity, all of this is part of our human experience. And we find ourselves in seasons, and understanding that because a particular season might be a little harder, there's a lesson. There's always a lesson to learn. If it's a healing season, one season may be harder than the other. Most of the people that I work with, we're together for 6 to 9 months because there are things that we need to accomplish, and it's not a quick process. There's no easy button. So it's, it's going to kind of look like a mountain or a roller coaster versus just going straight up. That never happens. So, find the wisdom in the hard and look for things that you can learn. And even if you're trying to change something or you're trying something new, maybe it's a new job, maybe, you're becoming an entrepreneur versus having lived in corporate America for a long time. Failures are learning. Failure should have never been connotated as negative. It's probably the worst thing that we've ever done to ourselves as a society is seen failure as a negative, because when you fail, you're learning. Now, obviously, if you're doing the same thing over and over again and having the same outcome, I think that that definition is insanity. But, it's like failing is okay. And, you know, being being stuck, if you feel like you're being stuck, then ask what you want more of. What part of your life do you want more of? How can you get unstuck out of a situation that you're in? I talk about health all the time because a lot of people stay stuck in a health situation because they don't want to go through the hard. And you have to understand that it's taken probably 20 to 30 years to get you in the situation that you're in. So it's not going to take 20 or 30 years to get you out, but it's not going to be overnight. So, figure out what the things that you want to change and, go for it. Just make a goal and ask the right questions. Culture tells us that there is only one way. And that couldn't be more wrong. And my personal story is that exactly. I followed what culture told me my whole entire life until my daughter got sick and I found natural health. So there's conduits that are going to help you break those cultural things that might be holding you to something. But if not, then just start asking questions. Is this right? Is this benefiting me? That goes along with your health. It goes along with jobs. It goes along with relationships. If you're stuck in something that is not beneficial, then you need to be okay with perhaps answers that you don't agree with. And you're going to make your own path and take a look at what others have done before you. There's a slew of people that have gone before you in getting healthy. There's a slew of people who have gone before you in changing jobs. I left corporate America after 40 years. It's my second act is much later in life. I never even would have considered that I would be here. I thought I was going to live and die in corporate America because that's what I was told throughout my whole impressionable years, is that's what it was. So, you also have to, give it the time, be willing to spend the time on making those changes and getting with someone, a trusted person, a mentor. Like I said before, it took time to get where you are. So you need to take the time to either change it or get out of it or leave it, whatever the case may be. We have such a microwave mentality and we want everything yesterday and we want overnight success, which, by the way, there's no such thing. And you have to be patient and you have to make mistakes. But I guarantee you, when you start to seek out other people that have gone before you and seek out mentors, trainers, coaches, those are the people that you need to find that can help you get through that and help you create that success mindset, because it's not easy to change habits. If you start to have the mindset that you can do anything that you put your mind to, how many mothers have told you you can do anything you put your mind to? I mean, my mom told me that all the time, but I just rolled my eyes and moved on. But it is actually true, because your mind is so strong that you can literally change it. You can find ways to exercise your brain so that you change those thoughts. I had a boot camp coach or trainer, whatever you want to call her, and she had this one exercise. They were called inchworms. Everybody hated them. And she always brought them in at the end. It's like, we're exhausted, we're tired. She's like, okay, now we're going to go across the floor in inchworms, and everybody groans. And she would just quietly say, people, change your mind. And it always has stuck with me, because if you start to just change your mind, change the way you look at it, think about the strength that you're getting through doing these darn inchworms. But if you do change your mind about something, then it will be more what's the word I want? You'll accomplish it easier, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So it's a process, and you are the sum of all your choices. It's like there's no overnight success. Your thoughts and actions really do snowball. That is very true. We are the sum of our choices, and if we are constantly sitting in negativity, this goes back to the emotions module. If we're constantly sitting in that negative space that I can't change, I can't do this, this is just one more thing I'm going to fail at, then, we can just ditch it. So we must ditch the negativity. Practicing gratitude too. It's like I go back to the inchworms. If I would have focused on the fact that this was something that my body could actually do, then versus how hard it was and how uncomfortable it made me, it's like you can always find and tweak anything. There's got to be a silver lining. That's what my mother would always say. There's always a silver lining. So, one of the last thing I'm going to talk about is procrastination, because that is one of the things that is deadly to change. And we get into this analysis paralysis. We want perfection. We want to second guess everything. It's like we get ourselves like deer in headlight in the process. And just one foot in front of the other. Choose one thing you're going to change. If you're going through this de-stress protocol, don't try to change everything all at once. Do one thing at a time. Again, I can be reached at support@Hello Your Health is Calling, and we'll get you started. It's easy for me to sit here and say it's easy, because it's not, and I'm not gonna sit here and tell you that there's a magic pill or anything, but just tackling this de-stress protocol. Today is the 4th of July. It's Independence Day, and I want to challenge everybody to celebrate independence. What do you want to be independent of? Is it your health? Is it your job? Is it your relationship? Is there something that you have been sitting in that you want to celebrate not sitting in that anymore? And let's just celebrate Independence Day and, figure out the steps you need to take. There was a quote that someone told me and it really hurt. And I'm going to share it with you because this is tough love. And it's like, if you're serious about changing your life, you'll find a way. If you're not, you'll find an excuse. And that's really tough. That's hard, but it's true. And there's so many things, there's so many reasons, there's all these things, but my encouragement to you today is to start with one thing. What can you change? Email me at support@Hello Your Health is Calling. We can get started with just reviewing this de-stress protocol. This is where I start most of my clients because it is something that people can grasp and get your hooks into. It's easy to start with one thing at a time. So thank you for coming and sharing this time with me. Happy Independence Day. Let's everybody celebrate our independence of something. Get healthy, change a job, get out of a relationship you don't want to be in, help somebody be better, anything. Let's celebrate independence together. And remember, if your health is calling, please answer it because it needs you to respond. Thanks.
Thank you for tuning in to another empowering episode of Hello, Your Health is Calling with Sue Kostyk. Remember, your health journey is ongoing, and we're here to support you every step of the way. If you have any questions, insights, or stories to share, don't hesitate to reach out. You can connect with us on social media or call in live at 888-994-4995 Studio A. Together, we're transforming lives and embracing holistic well-being. Until next time, prioritize your health and remember, your health is calling.